The war in Ukraine is just one of the developments weighing on the global economy, according to the IMF. Global growth in 2022 is expected to be 3.2%. That's down 0.4 percentage points from its original forecast. Inflation is the biggest problem, with the IMF saying it should be a top priority for policymakers. It's set to reach 6.6% in advanced economies and 9.5% in emerging markets and developing economies. Well, joining me now is Petya, who's the Deputy Director of the IMF's Strategy, Policy and Review Department. Welcome to the programme, Petya. So, recent warnings from the IMF of a darkening global outlook. What are the biggest factors causing concern?
Thank you very much. Indeed, the global outlook is gloomy and very uncertain. And we've really seen several of the downside risks that we've been talking about materializing. So specifically, we've seen very stubbornly high inflation, which has prompted tightening of monetary policy, which is one factor behind the downgrade. A second one is the slowdown in China as a result of the COVID situation there, as well as the real estate market. And then the third aspect of this has, of course, been the ongoing war and associated sanctions that have really put a huge toll on the economy, especially in Europe. So when you put it all together, you've seen these very large downgrades, and we are now expecting global growth to go down to 2.9 in 2023.
So the outlook has been characterized as gloomy. Just how bad is it going to get, do you think?
Well, we do consider an alternative, a very plausible alternative scenario, where and in that scenario, global growth is expected to be down to 2% in 2023. And if you look back in history, there are only 5 times since the 70s that we would have been in that type of situation. So it is indeed, I think, a very serious and very, I would say, unfortunate setting that we are finding ourselves in, with all these risks materializing.
And inflation, of course, one of the biggest problems, more or less globally. Do you think central banks are doing enough to try and get it under control?
Central banks are acting appropriately right now in terms of tightening policy in order to tackle the inflation problem. So that's really the number one priority, getting price stability back. Now, I think what would be really important is to stay the course and keep tightening until the inflation problem is resolved, because ultimately that's how we can have a growth and financial stability going forward.
Obviously, it's a slightly different picture depending on which country you're talking about, but I wanted to ask you about the UK, because out of the G7 economies, it's forecast to be hardest hit. Why is it so vulnerable, do you think?
We have seen, indeed, very large downward revisions in a number of countries. And I would say if you look at the spectrum, Europe is one of the areas that has been most affected. Part of that is the impact of gas prices and the potential also for a complete shutoff of Russian gas. And I would say in that area, actually, it's Germany that is one of the countries that is expected to be most affected. When it comes to the UK, UK is a very open economy. So the global demand and global growth being downgraded everywhere else in the world is having a first-order impact on the UK.
So I want to try and strike a brighter note. When can we expect to turn a corner?
Well, we do hope that with these resolute actions on the part of central banks and again, all of the support that could be provided, together with a very coordinated and positive global action, we could see positive developments after 2023. And again, it's and ultimately, again, it's outside the sphere of economics, but ending the war and having the resolution of that geopolitical problem would have a huge positive impact on the global economy.
Petya Koeva from the IMF, good to talk to you today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.